Welcome to Early Signal. Today we're unpacking a critical and somewhat unsettling trend in the computing industry that's quietly reshaping how we access and own technology. The move towards subscription-based computing, especially around GPUs and memory, driven by major corporations and data center demands. If you're a typical consumer, someone who owns a PC, maybe a gaming rig, or just relies on your computer for work and entertainment, this story matters. It's about how the hardware you depend on is increasingly becoming something you don't own, but rather rent or subscribe to, with big implications for prices, availability, and even our digital freedoms. So what's happening? In recent months, industry insiders and reports have revealed that companies like Nvidia are shifting their focus away from selling consumer GPUs, the graphics cards that power everything from gaming to creative work, toward prioritizing enterprise and data center SANs. Nvidia is rumored to cut consumer GPU production by 30 to 40% in 2026, reallocating those resources to AI data centers, cloud providers, and even military applications. Why? The demand for GPUs in AI training and inference has skyrocketed. These GPUs need a special kind of memory called high bandwidth memory, or HBM, which is costly and complex to manufacture. The limited wafer supply, the silicon disks where memory chips and GPUs are made, means there's only so much capacity to go around. Data centers with their deep pockets can outbid consumers for these resources, squeezing the supply available for personal computers. On top of that, memory makers like Micron have shifted heavily into serving cloud and AI customers, exiting or downsizing their consumer memory business. This shift has contributed to soaring prices for consumer RAM and GPU memory, further driving up the cost of building or upgrading a PC. The result? GPU prices, after a brief improvement, are poised to rise again. Consumers face not only fewer options, but also higher prices, while cloud services and enterprise customers secure the bulk of the hardware. This trend extends beyond hardware sales. Nvidia's GeForce Now, a cloud gaming subscription service, now caps monthly playtime and charges fees that over several years could surpass the cost of owning a GPU outright. This illustrates a broader strategy. Companies prefer recurring revenue streams from subscriptions rather than one-time sales. The dream of owning your own computer might be fading into the background as renting or subscribing becomes the norm. In the short term, over the next couple of years, expect tighter supply of consumer GPUs, rising prices, and more aggressive moves from companies to push cloud-based gaming and AI services. This may make gaming and PC upgrades more expensive and less accessible for many. Longer term, over the next decade, this pattern could lead to a computing landscape where ownership is rare and consumers depend heavily on subscription services for access to hardware capabilities. The parallels to the housing market are striking. Just as private equity has turned home ownership into rentership, so too might computing become a service rather than a product. This also raises broader concerns beyond cost: privacy, control, and digital autonomy. When your computing power resides in the cloud, controlled by large corporations and governments, your data and activities are more exposed to surveillance and algorithmic manipulation. The push toward military AI applications and government partnerships adds another layer of complexity and ethical questions. Reflecting on this, it's clear this isn't just a gamer or enthusiast issue. It's a societal issue about access to technology, economic fairness, and who holds power in the digital age. While companies argue they're simply chasing profits and efficiency, the consequences for everyday users are profound. Addressing this challenge will require collective effort from regulators, policymakers, consumer advocates, and yes, informed citizens like you. The conversation is just beginning, and staying informed is the first step. Thank you for listening to Early Signal. We'll continue to follow this story closely as it develops.